and Blair, I am a student of Dr. Sheena Mason, a Padawan of the Jedi Master, and aspiring to put a dent in this racism thing, and neutralize its effects, reverse its effects, and free people. I just watched The Matrix on HBO Max, and went to AMC and watched it in the movie theaters. AMC is just so tore up; it's just ridiculous. But just that whole idea, you gave me that red pill, Sheena. Oh boy. It's going down that Alice in Wonderland tunnel, and it's been a great ride so far. It's been a great ride so far. As I got like the late '80s into the early mid '90s, there was this point in time where there's folks like Public Enemy and Poor Righteous Teachers and folks like that, and there were other rappers who were basically like, Blue Eyed Devil, Burn Down the System, all, Down with Whitey and the whole thing. And I was buying into, hook, line, and sinker. Like, this racism is some BS. We got to burn it down. It's everybody against us. All white people are racist, and we got to tear it down. We got to tear America down. So I have this mentality going into activism work. And then when I moved to Columbus, Indiana, which is very homogenous, and they started a Black Lives Matter, well, Brittany King, who you've been on shows with from time to time, she started Black Lives Matter movement. And I wasn't really trying to get down with it too heavy because I really didn't know a whole lot about it. However, Brittany, at the time, when she started it, that's when Flint, Michigan was having the water crisis on the cover of Time magazine and all that stuff. And that's where I'm from. I represent Flint. And water's still bad. Benton Harbor, their water is bad. So don't even get me started on that. I don't even want to digress. But she did the Black Lives Matter chapter here did a rally for Flint. They asked me to speak at the rally, and I'm like, hey, they trying to look out for my hometown. So I appreciated that and felt as if, what, I should be more active in that in that movement. But as I got into it and I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, some of this stuff just don't really make sense to me. And then as time went on, and some of the brutality that has happened to people from the police and things like that, and I started to question just everything more. And the more I started asking questions, the more what I believed I knew just started to not really make sense anymore. And seeing that, we've been doing this for however many, decades. And I'm looking at civil rights and the progress that they made in such a short period of time, comparatively speaking, and looking at how long it's been since civil rights, that something that magnificent has happened. In 11 years, you get Civil Rights Act, you get Voting Rights Act, these historic pieces of legislation happen 10, 11 years. We have all this time from today till then, and what's going on, that's like that. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, the way we're doing things right now obviously isn't working. So there has to be some sort of alternative. There has to be something different. There has to be something more or something. And as I, again, start to question, I kind of went, I had my Malcolm X Mecca moment where I was like, I don't know that I can really get down with this, but there's still, a fight that needs to be fought. There needs to be a resistance. Star Wars, there's rebel forces. There's got to be a rebellion, because there is something that's, keeping people down. And through Brittany, I'll bump into you, and I'm like, whoa, she's talking kind of how I'm thinking right now. And then one thing led to another, and here we are on this podcast. So I don't know, I don't know if that completely answered the question, but that's my journey. That's my journey. Going from watching the Jeffersons, right, and watching George Jefferson, call Tom Willis honky. You know what I'm saying? On national TV. That was the thing. So I'm growing up watching that, and I'm listening to, these movements and music and culture and whatnot, and just really angry. Mississippi Burning. That was the thing. All of these things is coming out, just making me just angry. And anger is never the way, Sheena. Anger and finger pointing and, all of that thing, all of the stuff that it seems like we're struggling with right now, that's never the way. It's never the way. So
Yes.
I'm not going to shy away from doing any hard work and, putting in 9 weeks of 2 days a week. That's how we got down,
Yeah.
straight through.
Yeah.
And doing the homework. I mean, I ain't been in college in freaking forever. And you had me in college, girl. I was working. But it was worth it though, Sheena. It was so worth it because you when you sent the certificate of completion to me, and I believe that it was labeled as mind liberation, mental liberation, or mind liberation. It really felt like that. It just felt like these shackles just kind of fell off my brain to some degree. It was confirming in a lot of ways of thoughts that I had. And I learned about people who I thought I already knew, and being introduced to new concepts and way of thinking. And if you're talking about the outcome, the work, to literally change our mind, right, is to bring in new information so that and by bringing in that new information, science has proven, we literally change our minds. We change our neural pathways, all of that stuff, right? So when you say it's hard work, yeah, it's hard work, but boy, the payoff though, from a personal perspective, and then just from like you said, from a spiritual perspective of just kind of having that weight off, that weight of, oh man, I can't do this, or I can't go there, or I can't because of, and it's all fiction, Sheena. And to be able to have that weight off, to have those shackles just fall away, that's the payoff. And then guess what? Get to share it with everybody else.
Well, that's the replacement weight though, right? It's like
I think, true.
Like
after you try one way for another way.
Right. But it's funny because at least from my perspective, it's a different type of weight, because the first type of weight that you were naming that I also have lived and experienced, it's so internalized, like it really is a sort of impediment on one's psyche and one's way of being and moving in the world and seeing oneself in the world. But once you're able to free yourself from those hindrances, you're still able to recognize more clearly what the problems are. But you do it, at least for me, you do it in a way it's not the same, because you're not internalizing it anymore. You're not.
That's right. Right.
I don't know how else to articulate the difference, but
well, it's not a part of, I was going to say, for me, it was not connecting my identity to race. That was, to me, that was kind of like this anchor, this weight. So there was a weight that was on me, but then there was also this weight that was pulling me down though, too, it felt like, right? Because, how many people go like, oh, hey, my Black friend, or, what the whatever, but to be able to toss that to the side. And one thing that did help, I didn't mention in the story, Sheena, was when I took my ancestry test, And that connection was made. I was like, oh, so my people are from here, and now it shifted how I thought of myself. It gave me new insight into my identity from a science perspective, not
Yes.
from this social way of thinking about things. So that's when I was like, wait a minute, maybe there is even a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. So again, just that the freedom of not having that identity, that wrapping my identity in blackness, or that weight, that pulling down, because I'm so much bigger than that, right? We're so much bigger than that. We're all so much bigger than just that. And so to be able to discard that, again, huge, that behavior, how to operate, just all the things that you were talking about. It's all of that.